are a strong belief or desire that you can have something. My opening question for the group today is, do you believe that you can have more just by expecting more? Here's what I'd love to have you do. I'd love to have you flip over your evaluation form right now and write, yes, if you believe that you can actually have more by expecting more. I would love to have you answer yes, or I'd love to convince you to answer yes. So my leadership expectation style comes in 3 parts. First of all, what do you expect from yourself? Next, what do you expect from others? And then lastly, what do you expect to happen? So I'll give you 3 quick examples. What do I expect from myself? I expect that if I've written and crafted a well-written speech, if I deliver it effectively, there should be no reason today I don't win Best Speaker. I expect that if I go home today and somebody's had a bowl of cereal, that I'll go to my sink and I'm not going to find a bowl in there that's crusted up with cereal. I'm not going to find, matter of fact, I'm going to find where they rinsed the bowl out and put it in the dishwasher already. And you know what I also expect? I expect that the Cardinals just inked a long-term deal with Kyler Murray, and there should be no reason we're not in the playoffs this year. Totally. Expectations. In my estimation, they typically boil down to standards. The standards that we set for ourselves, or the standards that others set for us. Now, I'm very fortunate. I was raised by this father who set extremely high standards for me when I was very young. Very core fundamental values like integrity and work ethic. And those were cores that set a higher bar for me personally. But I'll tell you, for me, where it really happened, and it's when I went in the military. Now, to say that the military sets high standards and expectations might be the understatement of the morning. And it happened, I mean, immediately. I remember getting off the bus at basic training, and you're greeted by a drill sergeant with a big round hat, and he says, "Where do you think you're going, Private? Do you think this is the Hilton?" I guarantee you this is not the Hilton. As a matter of fact, why don't you get down here in the push-up position, and if you start pushing, I'll see if I can find the Hilton. Guess what? We never found the Hilton. Now, even though that very basic training started or extended that process for me of my own personal expectations of myself, and that's what those drill sergeants were doing for us. We're extending our standards. But I'll tell you where it went to the entire next level. In my training, I was there to be an infantryman. That meant that there's a possibility of going on the expedition to war. As a matter of fact, I did go on that expedition. But the training itself was so intense, and it got me to raise my own personal standards and my own expectations for what I was capable of and what groups are capable of. And I'll tell you where it hit me like a ton of lead. And it was, so in this advanced infantry training, we had to be able to demonstrate that in this particular case, we could deploy a live hand grenade. And that was the first time in my life where I actually held and they gave us 2. And so here's how they train you to use a grenade. So as you can imagine, when you're in a wartime situation with a grenade, you have to be close enough to your enemy that you can throw this at them. So typically, you're hunkered down behind a cover. And how they teach you is you pull the pin on the grenade, and then you come out from underneath the cover and you use your non-dominant hand to point at your target, and then you release the grenade and you come back down under cover. Now let me rewind that for you for a minute. It dawned on me much later, and I'm glad it dawned on me later than that very moment. But it dawned on me later that the power that I held in my hand with those grenades, one single grenade would have blown my head clear off. And when I pulled that pin on that grenade, now this is where the grenade was when I came up over that cover. And that, for me, is now the metaphor for how to take the power of something that is powerful, in this particular case, destructive. But what I found in my life and leadership is that you can take something that's powerful and good, and you can use it by aiming, and you can use your own internal, right? Your own internal constitution, your own internal expectations and standards to raise the bar for yourself and for others. So here's my parting question for you. Again, is it possible that you could raise the bar and the standards and your own expectations for yourself? And I'd like you to think about this as you leave the meeting today. Is it possible that if you lead a team, or if you lead a group, or if you lead a family, that you could raise the expectations for that group? And is it possible that if you raise your standards and you raise your expectations, anything is possible? Thank you.